Hi and welcome back. This video is called Gold and Silver versus Guns and Ammo. There's a big controversy within the survival community. Some people say gold and silver is good for everything. It is the holy idol. On the other hand, you got people saying, oh, gold and silver are worthless metals. Who cares about them? You got to have guns and ammo. I agree with everyone. I agree with both. It depends, although I think, on what the situation is. And I divide things into three basic situations. The first is inflation. Inflation is a fact of life. In the past, it has tended to calm down a little bit, but the government is currently suppressing a lot of the real inflation out there. Anyone who goes to the grocery store knows we are having a lot of inflation. Every week you seem to be able to buy just a little bit less in your grocery cart. And so we are experiencing inflation. What's good to have in an inflationary period? Very simple. Silver and gold. That's fine. And this is just a stack of silver quarters. This is just a stack of silver dimes. And this is just a stack of Kennedy halves, 1964, 90% silver. Gold is great as well because you know what? It holds its value. You can, during inflationary periods, the value of gold and silver versus the value of the US dollar, as far as currency is concerned, goes up. So you'll be able to maintain your buying power. And that is the number one key thing here. Even valuable coins from a rarity standpoint also do fairly well, and those are good things to have in an inflationary period as well. The second situation is called hyperinflation. Now that's something that we here in the United States haven't seen since the revolutionary days. So it's been a long time, and most people aren't even quite sure what that is. When they hear hyperinflation, they think of Germany in the 20s maybe. Some old lady carrying a wheelbarrow full of cash all over the place. Hyperinflation, as a definition, it's around 50%, at least 50% of inflation a month. So that means a lot of your buying power and your dollars goes away very quickly. There's a story in Germany about a guy who went into a coffee shop and he had 100 marks on him, which was just enough to buy a cup of coffee. However, he hesitated for a minute before he actually bought it, and in that minute, a cup of coffee went up to around 110 marks. He no longer had enough to pay for his cup of coffee. That's hyperinflation. How's hyperinflation caused? When a lot of money is printed up, and there's no products that are manufactured that go up as well. So what you end up with a large money supply and a very small product supply. Too much cash chasing too few goods. What's good in hyperinflation? Once again, we're talking silver and gold. Great to have.
Silver and gold.
I like that special too. What don't you want to have though? Those rare coins. That rare coin you have that's worth $10,000 because there's only 10,000 of them minted in the world. They don't do well. Why don't they do well in hyperinflation? Because coin collecting is a hobby of the middle class, and the middle class is generally decimated in a hyperinflationary environment. They can't afford to eat, much less buy your super rare coin. Super rare coins tend to become whatever they're worth in silver and gold content. So not a good idea to have very, very rare, very, very valuable coins in a hyperinflationary scenario. Now we're going to the third and probably the most controversial type of a situation. Within the community, it's called SHTF, or blank hits the fan. The other is Teotihuacan, which is the end of the world as we know it. I don't know who came up with that one, but there it is. In other words, if you ever see that movie with Mel Gibson called Road Warrior, that's what we're talking about. No law and order, folks are starving, looting is rampant, there's killing, there's all kinds of lawlessness going on. Everything's gone to, the crap hits the fan. and we've lost all order. Our economy's collapsed. There's no more trucks bringing goods. Everyone's on their own. What's good now? I can tell you one thing that's not good right now. Your silver and your gold and your other coins, don't bother. Leave them hidden away. Imagine during Hurricane Katrina, in those days right after the hurricane hit, and all those looters were running around with guns and clubs. You don't want to walk around trying to trade silver. They'll kill you for it. Not to mention, people don't want silver and gold during those times. They want food and they want water. They want water. Okay? They want food. This is an MRE, by the way. I also like the Mountain House goods as well. That's what they want. If you're in the middle of the Sahara Desert and I come down looking like an angel and I offer you a big old chest of gold, or I offer you this, you're going to take this. Because if without this, you die. In which case, the bleached skeleton sitting there in the sand has a big old treasure chest next to him. And what good is that? What else is viable during, that kind of a blank hits the fan scenario? Ammo. This is 5.56 millimeter. With this, you can keep your food and water. Or if you're of that inclination, you can take some food and water. Now, I always believe that humanity goes through a lot of crap, but we always recover. And I think eventually we would recover. Based on how bad the disaster is, at least local areas will recover and have law enforcement and trading posts. Trading posts, once you have a trading post and you've got some law and order, then you can start talking about silver and gold and all those other lovely things. Just like to take the old, let me give you an example of the Old West. When the trappers went to trade with Indians, they didn't trade silver and gold. They gave things Indians needed, like knives, ammunition, guns, anything with of a useful implement, blankets, for instance. That's the kind of stuff that has value in a very primitive, blankets the fan scenario. When the trapper went back, he took with him beaver skins that the Indians gave him. He then went to the trading post where there was law and order, and he traded in those beaver skins, and he got himself some gold and silver, and then he went to the local town and had himself some fun with it. So, which do you want, gold and silver or guns and ammo? The answer has to be both.